Today I'm going to replace the factory 18-inch bar on this MS250 with a 16-inch. Stick around and I'll tell you why. You can see I've already got it stripped down to the clutch here, and this right here is why I'm replacing it. This clutch. To get the clutch off, obviously you've got to remove your bar, your chain, your clutch cover. Most saws are the same. You've got two bar nuts you pop off right here. Your clutch cover comes off, your bar comes off. I'm pretty sure we're all familiar with that. This is going to depend on your saw model, how you do it. Most Stihls, I believe, have a clip you pop off, a washer, and then your whole clutch drum comes right off with it. And this right here is the culprit, I believe. The salesman told me when I bought this thing that his favorite saw was the MS250 back when it came with a 16-inch bar. And he told me they started putting an 18-inch on it, and it wasn't the same. The 16-inch had a really good power to weight ratio. It would balance well in your hand. And he said the 18-inch it wasn't the same. And it's always kind of been in the back of my mind. And look what I've done to this thing in less than 10 hours. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is not because I didn't have oil in it. Yes, bar and chain oil will do this to a bar. I had plenty of oil in it. I could see the oil slinging off of it onto the stump I was cutting. The chain was sharp. I sharpened the chain every time I used this thing. It was not due to that. I honestly think it's because the clutch has been slipping this whole time. It would get so hot that I couldn't even put my hand on this plastic clutch cover. I'm used to my old Craftsman 16-inch, and if I'd bury that thing in a stump, you know, the saw would just bog down and it'd quit cutting. Well, not the MS. This Stihl just keeps running along, but it quits cutting. It doesn't bog down, but it quits cutting. So you tell me, if this thing is still running the same speed, but it's not cutting, what's happening? The clutch is slipping. And I thought maybe I got some bar and chain oil in there. Maybe I had issues with, you know, this all just getting gooked up with oil and sawdust. But I smell the inside of the clutch drum here, and it really doesn't stink like burnt oil. You can see, hopefully, there's a bunch of powder in there. I don't know if it's showing up or not, but there's a bunch of powder in there, like I'm just destroying this thing. I really think the bar is too big. I think I can get too much chain buried in a log, and the clutch just can't handle it. It's too much, I don't know, too much force on it. Now, I could be wrong. This could be operator error. I don't know. I don't think that I abuse my stuff. I do use it. By that I mean I push it hard, because I expect when I buy, you know, a name brand equipment like this, I expect it to work. But I don't know. At any rate, today we're going to replace the clutch, put a different bar on it, and see if that takes care of it. So once you get down to this step, you're going to have to somehow keep the engine from turning so that you can take the actual clutch off of it. So we're going to get the spark plug out of the saw, which is in there plenty tight. Holy cow. There she goes.
There she goes.
Comes with a Bosch plug, apparently.
Makes sense. German saw, German plug.
I prefer NGK. That's what I always replace plugs with. Doesn't smell bad, and it looks pretty good too. And now what we're going to do is take a piece of some soft rope. You want it to be nice and clean. You don't want junk on it. And what we're going to do is find the end of it, hopefully, and we're going to feed it down inside the spark plug hole. It shouldn't take much because the chainsaw doesn't have a very large chamber. So now we've got some of our rope shoved inside the combustion chamber. That will keep the saw from turning over, because as the piston tries to come up, it's going to hit that rope and not be able to move anymore. Now, I believe chainsaw clutches are reverse thread, so it'll look like I'm tightening it, but I'm actually loosening it. Oh my goodness, that's tight. Tighter than the spark plug was. Now, I could go get an actual ratchet and socket. That would probably help. But since it just happens to be the same as the spark plug, we're using the spark plug tool. That is one nice thing. You can do this with only the tools that have been supplied from the manufacturer. You don't have to buy any tools to change your clutch. Now you can see the wearing on this thing. Scoring, wearing, whatever you're going to call it. Look how hot this thing has been. This is definitely not oil on this. This is not slick at all. There's nothing burned onto here. It has just gotten so hot. At any rate, now that we've gotten this far, we're going to put our new clutch in. Now, remember, it will turn what looks like the opposite direction of what you would think because it's reverse thread. That way, as you're using the saw, it will actually tighten itself on the shaft. So now, when we go to tighten it, it will actually freewheel a little bit because the piston's going to go back down. The piston's going to go all the way around before it's going to try and compress on that rope again. And we're not going to go crazy here because, like I said, it's going to tighten itself. Now, go ahead and pull your rope out, and there you have it. That's the easiest way to get a clutch on and off. You could use an impact if you have one. Not everybody has one. Once again, I'm trying to show you how to do this with literally just this tool and a piece of rope. We're doing this outside today because we have no power and it's dark in the garage. You might be able to hear the generator running in the background. We had a big storm come through about a week ago. They're calling it a derecho, I think is how you say it. Straight line winds, 80 to a little bit over 100 miles an hour, and it just leveled a lot of the stuff in the state. If you want to see a good video of just average farm damage, check out Cole the corn store. He's got a pretty good video showing the amount of damage that we suffered here. I got pretty lucky. I've just got some very minor damage. A couple shingles missing, some tree damage, nothing major. I've got a neighbor who's missing an entire building and 2 grain bins. So, like I said, I can't complain whatsoever. I fared pretty well in this whole ordeal. For some reason, I feel the need to put the spark plug stupid tight because that's how it was. Don't worry, I'm not. I just got it snug. Spark plug is reinstalled. I'm gonna go ahead and put the air filter back. Oh, let's put the little summer-winter air dam back in. We'll put the air filter back in now. Just keep any junk out of our saw. There we go. Now, the new bar.
Oregon.
Control cut aluminum core. Lighter, stronger, longer lasting. I bought it on eBay. I want to say it was like 55 bucks for the bar and the chain. The part number for the combo pack is 578779. Like I said, it's a 16 inch. I had an 18 on there. Obviously, I'm going to keep the 18-inch bar around because I'm a hoarder and I keep everything around. I don't know, I might someday want to put it back on for some job. I don't know. I really think I'm going to be very happy with the 16-inch bar. Most of the stuff I'm cutting down is well under that anyway. 8 to 12 inches, right in that range, is probably the average thing I'm cutting up. Put our new bar on here. Wait a second. How about we put the new clutch drum on? I'm using all OEM parts. I got these from the same guy I bought the saw from. And just a bit on that, I ordered the stuff. He said it'll be in about a week. I called him up and he said, yeah, it shows that it's here, but I don't see it all. Just come down and I'll figure it out. So I go down to the store and he had everything except for the actual clutch itself. And would you believe it? He couldn't find it anywhere in the order, so he took a brand new 250 off the shelf, took it apart and handed me the clutch out of it, and said I'll order a new one for that so you can have this one. That is just the kind of customer service you don't get anymore. I mean, a big box store, oh, sorry it's not here, come back later. I mean, good luck trying to get them to give 2 hoots about your problems. Now, not all this grease is going on this bearing. We're just going to put just a whiff on there, because if you get too much grease on this thing, guess where it's going to end up? Inside your clutch, and we're going to be doing this all over again. It's one of those things where, you know, you probably don't need to grease it, but I just can't help myself. I've always put just the tiniest amount of grease on there. Now, in an MS250, there's a notch in your clutch drum right there. That notch you have to line up with a piece of wire which runs the oiler. You're not going to be able to see it, but it's right down here. And it'll be obvious if you don't get it lined up because you won't be able to get your clip back on. And there's even a little line on the face here that kind of helps you line everything up as you're putting it together. You can see that line and the little wire poking out at the same time. Now we're going to put the washer back on, put our clip back on. Once again, this would be easier with an actual screwdriver, but we're using the tool it came with. Ouch. Don't hand on to the dogs, those kind of hurt. There we go, she's on. One more little push and perfect. It's all the way in there. Now, some advantages with this bar. It's going to seem like you have more power because you've got less bar in the wood. And you're turning less bar overall. You know, it's 2 inches shorter, so that's a lot less chain you're whipping around. It's going to oil better because it's putting out the same amount of oil for a shorter chain. And it should also be less drag on the clutch because it's a shorter chain. Well, I'm going to shut the camera off and keep fighting with this, but I can't get it out of the package. Alright, now let's get it untangled. You ever wonder how these things get so tangled up like this? Is there a better way to untangle them? If there is, drop down in the comments and let me know. I usually just kind of grab them and keep doing this game until they hang freely. There we go. Hook it around the back of our sprocket here. Now, yes, I realize I could have bought a new steel bar for this. I don't feel the need for that. I feel like Oregon is a good name brand. I did want to buy OEM steel parts for the clutch, just because I don't want to, you know, be in the same boat again where the clutch is slipping and I'm wondering why, what's going on. I'd rather, you know, just have all new OEM parts and know that it's not because the parts are crap. Because I've fought that too many times in other areas where you just don't know if you've got another underlying issue or if it's because you put more garbage parts back on it.